presenting conference here in London, hosted by the RLA, and I'm delighted to be joined by Vice Chair of the RLA, Douglas Haig. And Douglas, what a PRS, what a week, what a report, what an event.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, this is today's off the back of Tuesday night, where we were in the Houses of Parliament, had a wonderful reception celebrating our 20th anniversary, and our chairman, Alan Ward, rightly got some accolades from some of the partners we work with, including Secretary of State James Brockenshire. And I think that's then reflected by what's going on around us today. We've got a brilliant attendance for the number of people in London. Over 200 landlords are currently in the room. We've just had some really positive comments from Anne Frost from MHCLG in terms of what she might do or what the department's looking to do, that they're looking to work with the RLA. We were on that slide saying that they're looking to get us in partnership and working with them to see how we work with things going forwards. Very interesting that she also made a point that you picked up on, a review of selective licensing. It's quite possibly in the pipeline. Another point around the housing court, which for us is around how do we mature as a PRS. We've got to get the housing court sorted. We've got to get access to justice for both tenants and landlords, but landlords have got to be given that confidence that they can enforce their rights and also get possession when they need to. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what's happening the rest of the day.
I think it's going to be awesome. And talking of Anne Frost, do you think that the rhetoric from government has changed over the last few weeks? I kind of feel that it has, and it's become more positive towards landlords and shown very much that they want to work with us and that we all share the belief that, standards needs to be raised.
Yeah, and I think we've got to start with an acknowledgement that we as a PRS have got to do more going forwards. We've got our market, like everybody else's market, is changing in what they need and what they require. We need to recognise that. We need to make those changes. Longer term tenancies is an example of that area. We've got to try and lead that as a sector, otherwise it's going to be forced upon us. Now, Anne said in that room, longer term tenancies, they don't have a legislative time. So let's use this opportunity to see what we can bring together as a sector, offer more long term tenancies, and then hopefully they won't need to legislate around that sector because we're supplying the demand in the market. But on the note of generally more collaborative, yeah, we've had a bit of a tough time. We've got the tax changes, they're clearly kicking in now. Something like, from government's own figures, something like 46,000 landlords, 16, 17 sold up, which tied in with our predictions and our statistics from our surveys that we do. And if it continues in that trend, we could be looking at another 133,000 properties lost from the PRS over the next year. So they've got to recognise this. And hopefully that is the beginning of that. They've recognised that we aren't a tub-thumping organisation. We're coming forward with sensible proposals that work for our landlords. And hopefully that's what we can continue to do and start making a difference to making a PRS that works for both sides and not just a complete swing to the tenant agenda.
Indeed. I think one of the other things that Anne said that I picked up on was that she was very keen that rogue and criminal landlord rhetoric didn't drive the conversations, and I thought that was a very valid point.
Yeah, I mean it's a point that we've been making for a long time is to try and eliminate this term of rogue, because for a start it's kind of cheeky chappy type thing, which is not healthy for the sector, because when we see what actually goes on and the reason why a lot of these things are being driven, it's downright criminals, it's awful property conditions and some really bad things happening to some tenants out there, but they're a tiny minority of this sector. And how do we focus on that, drive that out, make sure that we're not doing the whole hammer to crack a walnut thing, so and really be able to make sure that all the good landlords are not being put in a position where it's too costly for them to provide good quality, safe, secure housing in this market.
I met at the event earlier in the week some landlords that had been with the RLA for 20 years, and just thinking back to when Alan started it 20 years ago, do you think he could have imagined an event like this and that you still had landlords who started out with you on board with you? It's such an achievement.
It is, and I would say no, but then our chairman, Mr. Ward, has incredible vision. So possibly 20 years ago he did look at that, because he can be a tough cookie around that boardroom at times, but he really drives the standards of the organisation, keeping our landlords at heart, keeping the message at heart, making sure that there is a balance in what we're doing, and he steered us through that journey. I mean, I've been on the board for just over 6 years, vice chair for 4 of those, and I've learned a huge amount from that man and working with the board and the organisation, and certainly the opportunity to speak to some of those landlords and see what the value was. I mean, it's always great to speak to the members, but especially to see some of the longer term members and see why do they join it, what value they got from it, what keeps them renewing year after year. This is the key to the continued growth of the organisation, and if the organisation continues to grow, our voice gets stronger. We have over 30,000 members. That's probably about 50,000 landlords the way our memberships work. From 12,000 when I joined. That's a huge growth, and you can see the power that's starting to have by the fact that we've just had a slide put up by MHCLG saying working with the RLA, and imagine what can happen if we add another 50,000 landlords to that list. Absolutely. The more people that join, the more power we have, the more voice, and the more likely we are to affect change.
Indeed, and we've started on such a high note with Anne's presentation. How can we build on that? Give us a little bit of a flavour of what's coming over the rest of the day.
Well, it was a low note because I started the conference, so it got a lot better after Clive Bull from LBC Radio and Anne took over after that. But going forwards, on stage now we've got David Cox and Katrine Spall. David Cox from RLA, Katrine Spall from the Property Ombudsman, which could be a key thing, bearing in mind they're talking about redress schemes for landlords going forward. So it's always interesting to hear what her perspective on the market is. We've got a Richard who's talking about licensing this afternoon, which, given the new HMO licensing regulations for England, not Wales, important point to remember. Those changes come in on the 1st of October, so understanding what they mean, already getting some confusion and questions around that. Tax, always a big issue. It is one of the key things that comes to us time and time again. We are trying to do stuff about it. We're having more constructive relationships with the Chancellor, not directly, but with his office, and so we'll see what we can do. But overall, it's a really constructive day for landlords to learn, but also, the title of this conference is Future Renting. Yes. We are looking about how do we shape things to come? What is that vision? How do we create something? As I said earlier, we've got to adapt the market to our clients, to our tenants. We've got to see what they want. So how do we do that with market forces that works for us as landlords? And we've got to figure that out ourselves, because if we don't, they'll enforce it upon us, and that won't work the way we want it to. And that's really one of the key messages that we're going through today.
Indeed, and we've had conferences in Cardiff, Manchester, now we're in the capital. It's great to finally bring the conference to London, isn't it?
It is, and it's a great venue and beautiful day. I mean, this university is one of the ones that I considered coming to maybe a couple of years ago, but it's a lovely place to do it. They've hosted us well, and we're going from strength to strength. We're looking at the Cardiff conference again, and we've already got strong interest from people. We haven't even launched it yet, so I think it shows that we are doing something right. But if people want something more, something different, feed it back to us, because that's how we tweak this, make it bigger and better. Because this is an opportunity for us to hear back from our members face to face that we don't necessarily get all the time. I've made an effort personally to make sure I am at all 3 of the conferences, because I do enjoy speaking to the members to hear that feedback, and that's the only way we can supply what you guys are wanting as landlords is can we do that by hearing your points of view. So it's really valuable to us, and I hope it's valuable to the landlords that are coming.
Well, it absolutely is. I've already really enjoyed hearing Anne's speech, and also picked up on rather a coup that she announced that the government were going to review selective licensing. I think this conference is a platform for so many positive things and positive change. And I guess to conclude this interview, we can say that today is really the finale of the kind of 20th anniversary celebrations, and what a way to go out.
No, absolutely, and it's what can you say? You can take so many negatives from what's going on right now, but if you're going to do that, then just sell up and give up. That's not what I see most landlords are about. They are tenacious individuals that have either saved or been given an opportunity to start or build a portfolio, and that's hard work. It's running a property, even if it's just one property, is hard work. You've got to know a lot, you've got to do a lot, and people that aren't in that position don't appreciate that. So this is, this is not the end of what's going to happen. This is a platform for the RLA. It's a coming of age.
That's a good way to describe it.
Hopefully, and we'll see the engagement that we're getting from both members and members of Parliament and peers and communities. It's positive, and hopefully we can build on what we've started now.
Well, very exciting times ahead, no doubt. Happy anniversary to the RLA. Fantastic achievement. Particular respect to Alan Ward, who we were talking about earlier. And I wish you a fantastic day. It's already shaping up to be very, very important day for the private rented sector, carrying forward that momentum from earlier in the week.
Thank you. Still lots of pastries left as well, so it's going to be a great day.
Let's go.
Yeah.